Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices is made possible in part by CIBC and by the support of these donors.
Good evening and bienvenidos to Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices. I'm Hugo Balta, WTTW News Director and your host. Thank you for sharing part of your weekend with us. We begin tonight with COVID-19's tightening grip. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot's stay-at-home advisory is set to go into effect on Monday. The advisory means residents aren't ordered to stay at home, but they are encouraged to do so. While COVID-19 cases in Chicago and Illinois climb to alarming rates, WTTW News is renewing our commitment to covering the virus daily. One of the groups hit hardest by the pandemic are small businesses. But Chicago officials say they're trying to help those businesses survive what appears to be, as President-elect Joe Biden put it, a very dark winter. Joining us now with more is Rosa Escareño, Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. Welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Commissioner, we're on the precipice of what looks like a very tough time for the city and its small businesses. What can you tell us about how Chicago small businesses are doing?
Well, I have to tell you, it's been an extremely difficult year for our businesses. And you're absolutely right. We're about to head into a very dark time with the harsh winters in Chicago. Our businesses have been devastated by this crisis. And we are doing everything we can here at the City of Chicago to make sure we're working closely with them. But there's been a dramatic impact specifically to our hospitality community.
Commissioner, as you know, Black and Latino businesses are getting hit especially hard. My colleague Patrick Schutz interviewed an employee at a West Lawn business this week. Here's some of that conversation.
COVID has impacted us a lot because, as you can see, people can't come inside and eat, during this whole time. And we actually had a lot of customers that would come and eat, after church, after certain sports, that would take place, So they would come in and eat, and now they just grab it to go. Or sometimes they don't want to come because of the whole reason that you can't sit, or be surrounded by other people.
Now, data showed that the Paycheck Protection Program funds disproportionately went to the North Side businesses. Commissioner Escareño, what has the city done to get targeted help to other businesses?
Sure. The story that I just heard, this is certainly, reality, specifically in our Latino community, right? Where we are so accustomed to being amongst our family, being close to friends and loved ones. But we do know that there have been areas of our city that historically have been disinvested. And when the federal money came here to Chicago, we know that traditionally businesses that have had banking relationships with the Small Business Administration, who pushed out the money, those were first in line. So those are not the businesses in our neighborhoods. Traditionally, South and West Side or low moderate income neighborhoods have traditionally not sought those types of loans. So the city have focused most of our efforts by prioritizing funds go directly into the neighborhoods where traditionally these small businesses, your mom and pop stores and small restaurants, have not had that lending history or that lending relationship. The mayor stood up and we all worked very closely together to stand up over $100 million over the past 8 months to ensure that we're putting money and making sure that we're making it more accessible for these businesses. All of our programs, our loan programs and our grant programs have had an equity lens to it. What that means is that we prioritize low and moderate income areas to receive certain portion of those funds. And that's how we've been able to get the money out into the neighborhoods.
Commissioner, let's talk a little bit about Thanksgiving. It's just around the corner, the holiday season, and people are wanting to get together. CDPH has been pointing to large private gatherings in homes and hotels, even party buses, as a source of COVID transmission. What is the commission doing to stop these gatherings? Does the task force have adequate staff to keep these from happening?
So, this has been task number one for my department. So we hold a very unique role here at the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. We're the licensing arm that supports businesses and wants businesses to grow our marketplace, but we're also the enforcement arm. And so our goal has been to ensure that we are working very closely with our health commissioner. And so the guidance that she provides in terms of how to keep our businesses safe and how to reopen safely. Our focus has been on making sure we're working with the health commissioner addressing the problem. So to your point, Hugo, is that the large gatherings have been the key problem, especially right now as we continue to see these cases growing. And so we have a task force that we created this summer specifically targeting large gatherings. So we work very closely with police, buildings, fire. Those are different departments that are partnering with us so that we can then maximize our resources on the field. And so we're very laser focused on making sure that we're targeting these illegal practices. And I will tell you, Hugo, that one of the great things here is that our business community has completely stepped up. The businesses that are properly licensed and those are the businesses that are actually following the guidelines. What we're finding is that there's a lot of illegal activity or businesses that are not really properly licensed and or just individuals that are having mass parties. Just a couple of weeks ago, we broke up a party of 600 people. This is 8 months in. No one should be having those kinds of gatherings. And so we do have the adequate resources because we're prioritizing COVID. COVID is our #1 priority because the health of our residents is at stake.
Commissioner, another thing I wanted to talk to you about was another problem that businesses are having is with paying the rent. What is the city doing to work with landlords and building owners to keep businesses in place?
So, the city, we have a housing department that has certainly over the past several months has been putting policies in place to ensure that those tenants have the resources that they need during this time. But what I can tell you from the gatherings and making sure that we're getting out this message about keeping our people safe in their homes is that we all have a responsibility. So we're asking landlords and building owners to make sure that they're pushing out the message. And that if they have, for example, anyone that believes that there is a problem unit where there are parties constantly happening, call 311, report that particular address. The task force that we put together is addressing both commercial as well as residential parties or large gatherings. Again, the goal here is not to be punitive, but when things are out of control, we want to make sure that we are helping everyone and that we're controlling the problem areas. Specifically in our Latino community, as you know, Hugo, those areas of our city, those zip codes where there are Latino primarily, north side, southwest side, are heavily hit.
Yes, Commissioner, absolutely. Look, the solution is going to take all of us. Commissioner Rosa Escareño, wish we had a little more time. Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you for bringing attention to this very important issue. We appreciate it.
Up next, how President Trump and the GOP made inroads with Latino voters in a conversation recorded earlier. But first, our nation observed Veterans Day this week. In this throwback from 2004, Chicago Tonight's Eddie Arruza visited a Southeast Side church as it honored the veterans and fallen heroes in its community.
The young generation of parishioners at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church may not exactly know why they honor their veterans, but they did so dutifully today. No doubt in time they'll learn, like their elders, about the cost of freedom.
We've always contributed, we've always taken part in defense of our country, and we don't unfortunately get credit for it. We're not saying that we're better than anyone, we're equal to all, but we're better than none, and we've always served with pride and with courage and distinction.
Our Lady of Guadalupe has the sad distinction of having lost more of its young men in Vietnam than any other Catholic parish in the country. Between 1966 and 1970, 12 of its parishioners were killed. They're remembered in a huge mural across from the church.
In 1968, we had 5 young men. just seemed like month after month after month after month, we were burying a young man out of our parish.
The Southeast Side Mexican-American community first went to fight in World War II, and since then they've enlisted or been drafted in large numbers. In the Korean conflict, 17-year-old John Allen Flores lost his life. In the decade that followed, his brother died in combat in Vietnam.
Joseph Albert Quiros. He was killed in Vietnam. January 29, 1966, he was 21. My mother and father were very proud of our boys, you know. Her sons, you know, they gave up a lot, but they were proud. I mean, they never felt that hated or anything towards, or had hard feelings towards the war or anything. You know, they felt that this is something their sons wanted to do.
Frank Rios served in Vietnam from 1968 to 69. He was friends with many of the young men who sacrificed their lives there.
You know what, as I look at these names, I really feel proud of them. They did die in vain, but I feel proud because they're our own people that went over there to answer the call to duty when they were called.
With more than 32 million eligible voters, Latinos undoubtedly played an instrumental role in the 2020 presidential election. And voter turnout across the country showed that Latinos are far from a monolithic voting bloc. Some of the takeaways are President Trump appears to have gained ground among Cuban Americans and Puerto Ricans in Florida, while Mexican Americans are credited for having helped Arizona turn blue. Joining us to discuss the complexities of the Latino vote in Chicago and across the country are Juan Andrade Jr., President and co-founder of the United States Hispanic Leadership Institute, which is based right here in Chicago. Maria de Los Angeles Torres, Professor of Latin American and Latino Studies at the University of Illinois at Chicago. And Cristina Pasiones Sayas, co-chair of the Puerto Rican Agenda of Chicago and Associate Vice President of Policy at the Erickson Institute. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Now let's start with Latinos accounting for about 1/3 of Chicago's population. Now that's a known fact. Mexican Americans make up the largest portion of the area's Latino community, which also includes Puerto Ricans and residents from Guatemala, Ecuador, and Cuba, among others. Cristina, how does the background of Latino Chicagoans play into their political views?
I think it's directly connected to U.S. foreign policy and, frankly, imperialism. U.S. imperialism influenced and informed how different subsets of the Latinx population are looking at this election and just overall their experience in terms of how it is helping them to understand and make sense of the two types of candidates that we had and what they were or were not going to do. Because, for example, you think about Puerto Ricans, and we obviously have had a long-standing colonial relationship with this country, and that has influenced a lot of how we look at our electoral role. But at the same time, you know, in terms of recent history with Hurricane Maria, I think a lot of Puerto Ricans could not forget the negligence, the abuse, and the treatment with respect to our brothers and sisters on the island and what the U.S. government did not do under the Trump administration.
Absolutely. Now the third anniversary of Hurricane Maria, top of mind for Puerto Rican voters here in Chicago and across the country. We're in a blue city, in a blue state, so neither party for the presidential election focused a great deal of effort to campaign here. Juan, is there a sense that Latino voters in Chicago are expected to automatically turn out for the Democratic Party, both nationally and local?
Well, more so now than 30, 40 years ago, of course, because 30, 40 years ago, we had only 3 Latino elected officials slated by the Democratic machine. But since that time, a lot of independent Democrats have run for office, and now there's over 30 of us here in the city. So. And all politics are local, so we drive ourselves. We created ourselves. We had to sue the city of Chicago, the Chicago Board of Elections, the state of Illinois, to level the political playing field. And we have covered a lot of that territory over the last 30, 40 years. And so now we turn out for ourselves, not just for others.
Certainly representation matters. Now, Maria, you think Republicans are smarter in their approach at reaching out to Latino voters versus Democrats. Can you tell us what the differences are?
Well, I think one of the things we need to note that actually Democrats lost ground in almost every state except for California and Arizona. And there was a higher, I think the Republicans basically out-organized. If you look at the state of Florida, for instance, Biden visited Miami, Florida, 1 time. Donald Trump was down there 16 times. The same thing, interviews given to Univision, only 1 from the Democratic candidate. So I think that the Republicans, if you read my colleague Jerry Cadava's book, The Hispanic Republican, they've been at it since Eisenhower. And they have, in this last round, I think the Democrats decided to go for the blue wall, and they've ignored particularly Florida and Texas.
Certainly there's a historic relationship between the Republican Party and Cuban Americans, and I would also say Venezuelans in the state of Florida. Another topic I wanted to talk to you about is immigration, and immigration being touted as a top issue for Latino voters, though research after research proves again and again that that is false. Christina, what were the decisive issues for the community in regards to this election?
I think first and foremost, what was top of mind was COVID, the pandemic. You know, you look at the data and you look at who is being infected at the higher rates, and that is Latinos. Granted, African Americans definitely had a high mortality rate, but if you look just in the city of Chicago, 47% of infections are coming from the Latino community. You have several different zip codes that have above 20% of the residents there infected with COVID. And so I think that COVID and all of the implications as it relates to the economy, because we had a lot of job loss or reduction in hours, the fact that for our families that are mixed status, you know, they weren't eligible for the stimulus package. There were so many different ways that COVID affected us, but also exposed the systemic racism that really connects to how our experience has been in the healthcare. So I think it's a combination of COVID, health access, the economy, and then of course, what's happening at the border with the separation of families.
Let's talk a little bit about the border and foreign policy. For voters within the Latino community, including for Cuban Americans and Mexican Americans, Maria, what's the difference between those two communities and Puerto Ricans, since Puerto Rico is a commonwealth?
Yeah, that's a big question, okay? I mean, I think, you know, again, all these communities are very different. If you're looking at the state of Florida, for instance, even the Puerto Rican community there voted 30% for Trump, okay? But within Dade County, which is Miami, actually Biden won, but it was despite the fact that there was a surge of Cuban support for Republicans. Cubans have not always been Republicans. They used to be Democrats. Reagan came along and ended up getting almost 80% of the Cuban vote. That has been eroded, and even last election, Hillary got 57%. This time around, the Democrats lost. Now, foreign policy is part of it, okay? But foreign policy, even for Cubans, is not the only thing. It matters to Cubans whether or not they're being supported to run for local races. The Republicans have been very good in bringing along Cubans, but not necessarily the Democrats. On immigration, for instance, Cubans in the past had the privilege of having, you know, the Cuban Adjustment Act. This time around, what's kind of interesting is that immigration, I think, did not really distinguish both candidates.
Certainly, and certainly for the more than 60 million U.S. Hispanics in the United States, not all of them are first-generation immigrants or naturalized Americans. We're talking about second and third and fourth generation in states like Texas. And immigration, while important, is certainly far removed. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have right now. Thank you so much, Juan, Maria, and Cristina, for your time. Hope to see you soon in another edition of Chicago Tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's more Chicago Tonight Latino Voices just ahead. But first, to Brandis Friedman and what's on tap for tomorrow.
Hugo, we've got lots to talk about. What an incoming Biden administration could mean for communities of color. Plus, centering Black and brown communities in COVID recovery efforts. Expanding the red line further south, and new life for the former home of Emmett Till. That's tomorrow at 6 on Chicago Tonight, Black Voices.
There are some well-known Chicago family dynasties, the Dailies, the Pritzkers, and the Madigans, to name a few. A few years ago, Jay Shefsky introduced us to several generations of a lesser-known Chicago family dynasty. Here's another look.
Gustavo Marin has shoes in his blood. I started shining shoes since I was 4 years old. I'm 45.
He learned to be a cobbler from his father, who repaired shoes in his shop near Mexico City.
In Mexico, we're really, really busy. He has probably like 5 shoemakers working for him. And I come around a lot because I enjoy being with my dad.
Gustavo came to Chicago in 1990. He's had several shoe repair shops over the years. He says he got his work ethic from his dad.
My father used to wake up 5 in the morning, go early to church, and come back and start working. My father worked over 14 hours a day.
At 83, Gustavo's father, Rosalio Marin, is still at it, 4 miles away in his shop on the north side. He started when he was 14. He says he went to the factory to learn, and back then he made the entire shoe. These days, he says, each worker only does one part. When the factory closed a few years later, he got work as a cobbler and then opened his own shoe repair shop. He married, started having kids, and in 1969, he came to Chicago alone.
When he came, he started to work like two jobs, and then send the money to Mexico and buy a house for my mom.
Rosalio kept the shop near Mexico City, and his wife and kids ran it. He divided his time between Chicago and Mexico. The family grew, and eventually most of the kids joined him in Chicago and in the shoe repair business. And it's a big family. How many brothers and sisters are there?
I got 7 brothers, 7 sisters, so we're 14.
And how many are in the shoe repair business?
Let me see, 1, 2, 3.
Altogether, 9 of the 14 siblings work with shoes.
He got a shop in Nevaston. He got a shop over Adams and Franklin.
The Marine siblings and their dad now own 5 separate independent businesses in the area. One brother manages a 6th shop, and another brother owns 2 in Mexico, including their father's original shop. All that would probably be enough to qualify the Marines for some kind of cobbler Hall of Fame. But now, here comes the next generation. 19-year-old Joshua Marine isn't the only one of his cousins to become a cobbler, but he's the first to open his own shop.
It's my son's shop. Fix your kicks.
Joshua, of course, learned from his dad.
My mom would always send me to the shop. Like after school, I would hop on the bus, head over there, learn, he'd buy me some lunch, teach me some stuff.
He used to like to come. Just like I did to my father, he did it to me. He come and hang out there. So I told him, Joshua, clean this machine, help me do this.
At Fix Your Kicks, Joshua Marine has an unusual specialty: repairing, restoring, and painting sneakers, especially Air Jordans.
This customer brought me this Air Force One.
Wait, this needs work? It looks like clean and new.
It's a new shoe. She wants me to customize it into these cubs.
That's great. He started in high school doing work for his friends.
My dad would get mad sometimes because I would go into the shop with like 3 pairs of shoes, 3 Jordans in my bag filled with sort of books.
Joshua started saving money at 15 to start the business, and his dad helped him get going.
I told him, hey Dad, I want to open the shop. He's like, I have the machines ready for you. Just find the place, if you're ready, then go for it.
Some of Joshua's aunts and uncles thought they would do other work. Being a cobbler is not glamorous, but it turns out it can be a reliable living.
You can make good living. We live in the suburbs, we live in Skokie, Lincolnwood, Highland Park. And I have my big brother, he lives in Lake Forest.
He says he feels very proud that his children learned this and like this job. From the oldest to the youngest, he says, he taught them to do the work.
He was dedicated to work, he was dedicated to his family, and he was dedicated to raise his family.
There used to be many more cobblers. Now, with cheaper shoes, people don't repair as often. But for a family with ambition and each other, they still see a future. For Chicago Tonight, this is Jay Shefsky.
Ooh, I'm feeling those Cubs-themed kicks. Since the story first aired, Fix Your Kicks has now expanded to 3 locations in Lincoln Square, Edgewater, and North Center. Despite the pandemic and being closed temporarily because of looting, Fix Your Kicks is open for business. You can find the locations of all the Marin family shops on our website. Now, before we go, MVP, Pito, a.k.a. White Sox first baseman Jose Abreu, is this year's American League's most valuable player, an honor he emotionally dedicates to his abuela in this video. And it's no surprise, with stats like these, 60 RBIs in 60 games, 19 homers in a shortened season, 22-game hitting streak, the longest in the majors this year. Oh yeah, and he did lead the Sox to their first playoff appearance in 12 years. Enough said. Felicidades, Pito. And that's our show for this Saturday night. Be sure to check out our website, WTTW.com/news, for the very latest on COVID-19 and the most important stories of the day. And please join Brandis Friedman tomorrow night for Chicago Tonight Black Voices. Now, for all of us here at Chicago Tonight Latino Voices, I'm Hugo Balta. Thank you for sharing part of your weekend with us. Stay informed, stay healthy, stay safe. Muy buenas noches.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a Chicago personal injury and wrongful death firm that is proud of their attorneys selected for the 2020 Illinois Super Lawyers List.